We're constantly told that stress is just a part of modern life, from emails, deadlines, to the endless hustle. But here's the thing, these daily stressors are chipping away at your health, hijacking your hormones, and speeding up how fast you age, and so much more. A lot of people have no idea that every meal you skip, every late night you spend doom scrolling is like a micro attack on your health, draining your energy, triggering weight gain, and even showing up as premature wrinkles. This isn't just about looking older, it's about feeling older too. And the best part is that it only takes a few simple, consistent changes to stop this hidden aging process in its tracks. So let's dive deep into what's really going on and how you can reclaim your energy, vitality, and confidence. Here is what is really happening when your body is under chronic stress. Hormones, especially cortisol, stay elevated. And when cortisol remains high day after day, it is quietly chipping away at your hormonal balance, like a slow leak in your health bucket that adds up over time. But understanding this is your wake-up call. It's the first step to taking back control and protecting your long-term health and well-being. Here's how this imbalance can show up and how it can steal your future health if you leave it unchecked. First is poor sleep quality. Elevated cortisol at night can hijack your natural sleep-wake cycle, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, this is terrible. As I'm now entering my mid-40s, I have noticed a change in my hormones such that I used to travel to Europe all the time and I had zero problem with jet lag or falling asleep. However, the last few trips that I took were nightmares. That's putting it lightly. I could not fall asleep and I couldn't stay asleep and I was stressed out that I wasn't sleeping. So it was just an endless, vicious cycle. So stay on top of your sleep quality. And literally what I do now is focus on my sleep like my life depends on it. Everything I do, everything I eat, I think to myself, is this going to impact my sleep? Because if it is, I won't go forward with it. I will do something else. I will choose better because that is how precious sleep really is. Research shows that high evening cortisol is strongly linked to sleep problems, creating a frustrating cycle that leaves you drained and more vulnerable the next day. Stubborn weight gain is a massive issue with chronic stress. And of course, the high cortisol triggers cravings for sugary, high-calorie foods, which leads to gaining weight, and it can feel impossible to lose that weight. Studies show that people with a stronger cortisol response to stress gain more weight over time, putting their future metabolic health at risk. Another problem is premature aging, because ongoing stress doesn't just exhaust you, it accelerates biological aging by shortening telomeres and increasing oxidative stress. This sets the stage for earlier signs of aging and higher risk of age-related health issues down the line in a process known as inflammaging. But here's the encouraging part. None of this means that you're stuck. Recognizing how these stress triggers work is the first step to reversing their impact so you can protect your energy and your future self. All right, let's keep going. I'm excited to share some powerful shifts that can help you feel more balanced, energized, and in control. I do these things and I can attest they work. So what are these everyday stress triggers that might be quietly aging you faster? Let's explore them together because every day that you ignore them is another day that you are adding stress onto your system that can be avoided. First is skipping breakfast or only drinking coffee. Starting your day without real nourishment or just relying on coffee is disastrous. It will send your blood sugar and cortisol on a roller coaster. That constant spike and crash tells your body to store fat and throws your hormones out of whack, actually into chaos, and will drain your energy and resilience. To make things worse, this also increases blood pressure. Normally, cortisol is supposed to spike in the morning and go down over time. Research found that women who skipped breakfast had higher circulating cortisol until mid-afternoon compared to women who ate breakfast. Another cortisol trigger is blue light exposure before bed. Late night doom scrolling might feel harmless, but the blue light from screens tricks your brain into staying alert. It suppresses melatonin and keeps cortisol high, which robs you of the deep rest that your body needs to heal, detoxify, and rebuild for the future. Smartphone use at night is also a cortisol trigger. Research shows that this habit can elevate cortisol and suppress melatonin. Studies also show that women who have the habitual behavior of using their smartphone for more than 4.5 minutes before bedtime have a 5.27-fold risk for breast cancer compared to those who use a smartphone for less than 4.5 minutes before bedtime. This might be surprising, but synthetic fragrances in candles, perfumes, and cleaners can trigger cortisol release. Sure, they might smell nice, but many synthetic fragrances contain endocrine disrupting chemicals that can spike cortisol and erode your hormonal balance. Over time, these tiny exposures add up in ways that show up in your energy and your skin. Studies show that phthalate exposures increase free cortisol and 8-hydroxydeoxyguanosine in early childhood, meaning that your DNA is becoming more oxidized and more damaged. 8-OHDG is a type of DNA mutation. DNA mutations are precursors to cancer formation. Another trigger for increased cortisol is over-exercising with too much high-intensity interval training or HIIT workouts. Yes, exercise is powerful and needed, but when you push too hard, it can actually backfire because HIIT has been shown to increase your cortisol for hours, which depletes your reserves and sabotages your body's energy reserves. Research shows that HIIT-induced cortisol elevations may last longer than with regular exercise. Whether or not that is damaging to your body is really unknown at this point. Only you know how exercise makes you feel. So if you feel lightheaded or dizzy after a HIIT workout, maybe you might want to look into something else. This might be shocking, but drinking from plastic bottles can also mess up your hormones. Many plastic bottles contain phthalates and bisphenols that mimic estrogen in your body and basically throw cortisol out of whack. The adrenals where cortisol is produced are targets of endocrine disruptors like phthalates and bisphenols. But here's the thing, awareness is just the first step. These small daily habits don't have to define your health or your future. Once you know what's triggering those cortisol spikes, you're in a much stronger position to take back control over your health. So the question is, how do you turn this around? Because the powerful truth is that small, consistent changes can make a huge difference over time, basically slowing down this hidden process of inflammaging. Here's what you can do starting today. Eat balanced meals every 3 to 4 hours. Ever since I started prioritizing protein, healthy fats, and fiber, my blood sugar and cortisol levels have been much more steady and stable throughout the day. Getting morning sunlight has also been a game changer. So I recommend stepping outside in the morning light before 10 a.m. as a way of using the sun to reset your circadian rhythm, which can help to balance your hormones for the rest of the day. Another thing that is extraordinarily helpful is filtering your water. In fact, I would say it is critical because a good filter can remove these hidden toxins that are disrupting your body's balance, your hormonal balance, and also reducing the stress when you actually remove them from your routine. I also started creating a calm nighttime routine, and that means turning off screens and using something like either warm tea, like a chamomile or lavender tea, doing some gentle stretching, and also maybe some journaling and meditation really helps take the body from fight or flight into a more relaxed rest and digest state, which makes it so much easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. Along those same lines, a mindfulness practice, even for just 5 minutes, belly breathing. This can help lower your cortisol and help you feel centered. And it's not about being perfect because you don't even need to be perfect to meditate. In fact, if you feel stressed like you don't have time to meditate, then you probably really should try. Another thing that has changed the game for me is not multitasking. Because once I stopped trying to do 5 things at once, slowing down and actually focusing on one task, so monotasking, it really helped to stay focused and also reduce my stress and anxiety because I felt like as soon as I was done with that task, I felt accomplished and calm and I could move on to the next task. Whereas when I was trying to multitask, I felt like there were too many irons in the fire and I was working a little bit on this, a little bit on that, never really getting a lot of work done on any one thing and then feeling bad about it at the end of the day, which doesn't help. Something else that has been massively valuable to me is working with an integrative medical doctor for personalized testing and supplementation recommendations because every person is unique. So working with a trusted professional can help you pinpoint exactly your causes of stress and how to actually reduce them that works for your body and your situation. So I would look into exploring your options and trying to find a provider who feels like the right fit. But just to be totally transparent, I pay out of pocket to see this integrative MD. It has changed my life in ways that I cannot emphasize enough. So if you're able to do it, I would recommend looking into that. These small, sustainable practices are your roadmap to slowing down the hidden aging process so you can feel younger, longer, not only look better, but have more energy into your older years, effectively increasing your health span. When you're aware of these hidden stress triggers and start to make these small changes, you're giving your body the chance to feel vibrant and balanced without feeling overwhelmed or stuck. If this video gave you some fresh ideas, go ahead and give it a like so you can easily come back to it later. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering tips on how to live a low-tox life that truly supports your body, mind, hormones, and the planet. I'll see you on the next video.